if you close a little bit harder, louder, then it's like the whole room is filled with a lot of people. Thank you. So who hasn't been in my previous session? You haven't been, okay. And I know that I need to repeat a couple of things then. Alright, so thanks for joining the session. This is the product roadmap for PMA, Partner Marketing Automation. I'm going to explain during the session like, hey, what's coming up, but also things that we've already been doing or we are working on and going to be released soon. A little bit of vision, like, hey, what are we heading against, or what are we going towards to? So I'm going to explain, and let's just start with first explaining what is PMA. So if we talk about partner marketing automation, what is actually partner marketing automation? So within Impartner, we say it's the communication and marketing to partners, and it's the true partner marketing automation. So the true partner is something that we do with News on Demand, and the true partner is the TCMA, the true channel marketing automation. Yes, I just wanted to get that clear, and I will talk about that true partner first, and then I'll go into the true partner. For the people that haven't been in my session, just again very quickly, if we talk about true channel marketing automation, if you're a vendor, you've got your local partners, then the role of those local partners is to resell your technology or your product, your services. So most of those companies are sales companies or integration system integrators, but not a lot of those companies are really marketing companies, right? And you have them as a role to sell and create demand for you into the market. So those local partners do have existing contacts that you are interested in as a vendor, right? So how do you get them to approach your existing contacts? They also have unknown audiences that they don't have in their databases yet, but you would also like them to explore and get new lead generation and deals in on customers that they were not aware of yet, but they are in the market for your solutions. So with TCMA, True Channel Marketing Automation, you basically centralize all the different tactics, like emails, social messages, or let's say advertising campaigns, and you push them to your partners, and while you do that in the platform, it will automatically be co-branded. So that could be on the landing pages, the logo is there, the contact details, and an email, it's co-branded with logo and contact details. But even in the Google Ads campaign, like in the ad copy, the name of the partner is there automatically. If you click on the call extension in an ad, it will dial the phone number of your partner. So everything is co-branded in a fully automated way. If you look at the known contacts of your customers, then organic or traditional TCMA, like email and social, are the right tools to start using. Because you can send an email to the database of your partners. You can send a social post to the followers of your partners, followers in LinkedIn or in Twitter. However, if you want to reach out to your unknown audiences, then basically you can't do that with an email. You can't send an email to people that you don't have in your database. So the only way to do that digitally is actually using digital advertising. And then, like in Google Ads, they show the intent, the unknown audience. You don't have it in your database, but they show that they're interested. You can show your ad. Again, this is just a very short summary of what true channel marketing automation is. And the two-partner is just sending, let's say, news to the partner, right? It doesn't go through the partner. So that just as a short recap. Let me explain, let's say, that what we are looking into from a product roadmap perspective is, let's say, the trends that are going on. Like, which trends do we need to hop on or need to emphasize in the product to facilitate to our customers? I use this slide with the AI presentation as well. We are actually in the fourth industrial revolution at the moment. We went from steam electricity computing now to intelligence, which has actually everything to do with cloud computing, with artificial intelligence, with automation. And if you just look into that, then it's the ongoing transformation of traditional industrial practices driven by advancements of these kinds of technologies. Right? So that's, for us, a huge driver, because we know that fourth industrial revolution will again change everything that we do. So that means like our product needs to, supply that sort of things or facilitate that sort of things as well, just to make life easier. And if you look at automation, for instance, that's already a key item for us. If you look at artificial intelligence, we just had that session with Torkel from Amanda AI, like how we use artificial intelligence in our advertising solutions, and I will get back to that later on. So we are trying to apply this already, but we will apply this more and more and more, right? Just to make our solutions more valuable, more efficient. So that's a nice bridge to this slide. It's like, why are we doing this? Well, this whole fourth industrial revolution is mainly about efficiency and productivity. Right? We start to automate parts of, let's say, processes that you don't have to do so you can value on the, let's say, the human interaction. That's basically what it is. So that efficiency and productivity is a very important part. So our solution should make life much easier for you as customers to start using it and benefit from all those automations to make it more efficient, and your partners should have it to be more efficient running campaigns or whatever they want to do. One thing that I want to highlight here is that if you want to start using these kind of technologies like artificial intelligence, the basic foundation is data. Right? So that means for us, integration is a very, very important component. Because the TCMA and the News on Demand tools, they both came from acquisitions of 3 years ago. And although we have integrated things into the solution, and we are integrating things in the solution, we want it 100% integrated. And the reason why is very simple, because if we've got all the data from News on Demand, TCMA, into our own PRM stack, that means we can start using that data for AI kind of tools more and more and more and more. Right? So it's a very important thing for us. Integration, you will see on the roadmap, as a huge focus for this year. And it's quite a journey, it's quite some work to make that happen, but the benefits will be immense, right? It will be very, very beneficial for everybody later on. I'm pretty sure that we can't even think about all the use cases once it's 100% integrated, right? Adoption and performance is a very important one as well. So if you use automation, you can have much higher adoption. And again, if you talk about these kinds of platforms, whether it's PRM or TCMA, you want your partners to use it. You want your partners to onboard it. The more you onboard, the more valuable it becomes for you. And the more they're engaged, the more valuable it is for you, the more performance it will deliver to you. And so for us, this is, those three components are very, very important. Integration, efficiency, and adoption/performance. And you'll see that coming back into, let's say, the roadmap itself. So let me start with News on Demand, the two-partner communication. I'm aware that not everybody knows what News on Demand is. So I try to explain this in a nutshell before I'm going to explain what we're going to do. News on Demand is a solution in which you can send emails and newsletters to your partners. So not through, but to your partners. There are many tools out there, email tools, that can do this. But I think News on Demand has, their specific differentiator here, in which they create more performance and value for customers. Let me explain why. Normally, if you would have a newsletter, you build a newsletter, you send it to a group of people, then that newsletter is the same for everybody. And if you want to have different newsletters for different groups and audiences, then you will have to create different newsletters to make that happen. What we are doing in this tool is we don't send the newsletters just as a one thing with all the content. We create articles, right? Just every newsletter consists out of articles. And every article you can basically target to a group of people. So that certainly means like you break it up in certain segments. So I say this article is interesting for this group of partners, this language, whatever it is, this tier of partners. At the same time, the partners itself can also provide their preferences. So they say like, I'm not interested in this kind of topic of information, like technical information or financial updates. I don't want them. Right? I only want the marketing updates. So the combination of those two, that the vendor can decide which group they're going to send it, and the partner user can decide like which topics they are interested in and which timing they want to receive the newsletters, that results in a unique newsletter per user that goes out to the platform. So not a one-to-many, it's a one-to-one approach. Every user gets its own personalized email newsletter, which is unique for everybody, depending on all those settings. So I just want to explain it because that's why it results in this. So 100% targeted, 100% personalized. The result of that is that the content is relevant for the people that they receive. Right? That's very important. The more relevant it is, the higher the click-through rate, the higher the performance. So we can see our click-through rates pretty high simply because of the relevancy that we provide. So much better adoption by partner users. Instead of that, they think like, let's ignore this one because 90% of the content is not interesting for me. Right? So that's an important one. I just want to explain that so you start to understand that. On the other hand, it's very important that if you are a large organization and you need to do newsletters across the world, then there's a lot of things that needs to happen. Right? So people need to approve it. You create content, they need to approve it. It might need to be translated. People want to make changes. So traditionally, if you don't have a platform that supports all these things, then we see customers using an Excel sheet for this or a Word document, and they, the one that is needing to manage, let's say, the whole newsletter, gets a lot of stuff, and they need to go through everything. It's not standardized, it's not structured, so that means a delay in when you can send out that newsletter. This platform supports the whole process, right? From creation till approval, translation, changes. So that means the delivery time to deliver an email newsletter to your partner users is much quicker. So these are two components, I think, which is important to understand. That's why large organizations are using News on Demand, because it's so specific and it's efficient for them. Yep. So then you could think like, hey, in this new world, there are so many ways to connect with each other. Think about Teams, think about Slack. So what is emails, right? Is it not like dead or something? I can tell you, based on those numbers, emails are not dead. The world is changing, so it has definitely a role to have Teams and Slack and whatever, but emails is not dead. 4 billion emails sent out, let's say, last year, and 77% of marketeers have seen an increase in engagement of emails. And again, for me, it's like, if you just send an email and it's non-relevant content, then it's not going to happen anything. But if it's relevant, then that partner user is saying like, I'm going to read this one because it's always relevant content for me. It's only providing me the content that I want to see, right? So don't underestimate the power still of emails. It's very, very important. And it's not overtaken by other connectivities or other communication channels, but it's going to play a role, and that's what we also see in the roadmap later on. So let me go into the roadmap of two-partner marketing. I already mentioned integration is going to be a key item for us in 2024, just to prepare ourselves for the future, right? So that means we talk about, with News on Demand, from the acquisition, it's the admin side of the technology. So the vendor admin side is a separate server. It's not in PRM at the moment, right? So that's what we need to integrate, just to get all the data into the PRM. If you would start doing that, and I will explain a little bit later on, you can start doing all kinds of things that we didn't even think of before, right? But I will get into that one. Think about the user segmentation in PRM. The segmentation in PRM is very, very powerful. If News on Demand starts using it, that becomes powerful as well because it's fully aligned. The same for the reporting. You all know that we have been working on reporting, and it's becoming really interesting now. So we want our reporting News on Demand into the PRM reporting. Very simple. If we look at the portal side, so if we look at the partner portal side, then that's already integrated to that. Right? So we integrated our solution for the partners into the portal. So we've got existing customers that are still using, let's say, the News on Demand partner portal, but for new customers, we will only set up, let's say, the portal into PRM itself. So that's the other side of the business. So we already have that with the widgets. I'll explain a little bit about that. And then integration with Slack, I will come back later on about that one. And then the last component here is really focused on our existing customers that are already using News on Demand today. Of course, it can't be the case that we are migrating everything, integrating everything into PRM and not delivering any new features for our existing customers while we're doing the integration, because the integration is quite a chunk of work. So we keep updating and maintaining our infrastructure to keep all our existing customers live. And we keep coming up with new features. So last year we did a lot of new features based on the input that we received from our existing customers. But one of those things is like the article resend, we already delivered. I will explain a little bit more about that one, but we're going to fine-tune a little bit. But the template families, for instance, is coming up right now, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about that one as well. So that's at least the 3 high-level blocks. Again, this is not the full picture, but the high-level blocks of what we're going to focus on. So again, getting back to the 100% integration of News on Demand within the PRM partner portal, That one has done, so that means we've got widgets that can be implemented into the partner portal. Like other widgets from other applications like business planning or MDF, we've got news on demand widgets that show, let's say, all the articles that has been sent to you. You can click on an individual article, you can set up your preferences. So that means there is no separate partner portal anymore for news on demand. It's all integrated in PRM. Yep. So that's ready, and we are going to deploy more and more customers with that, and we're going to migrate potentially existing customers into it as well. We will do it step by step, but that's available, so that's a big chunk. If we look at the integration into PRM itself, so the vendor admin side, then that's going to be quite a chunk. So we are now looking into, let's say MVP, like what is necessary based on all our customer use cases, what is the set of features that we want implemented into PRM. We do still have customers that have some customizations. So that means we don't want that. So we try to get the full stack into PRM and have it as a real SaaS solution.
Can I ask a question?
Could you remember your question till the end of the presentation? Otherwise, I'm going to not going to make it. Yeah. Thank you. So the integration into PRM could be very interesting, and let me just give you an example. So first of all, the reporting. I just mentioned the reporting is not just news on demand, it's going to be a mix between PRM usage and news on demand. Right? So that's an interesting one. The second one is if you think about those articles. So if you have the articles in PRM, then it means like you can use it for sending the newsletters to your partners, but now suddenly you've got access to the data within PRM, also the vendor users itself. So for instance, the customer account managers, the partner account managers, you could send them an email, a newsletter email, before it goes out to the partners itself. Right? Using the same articles because you have that data. Or you could use it for the true partner marketing automation. You can say like, hey, I want newsletters for my partners that they can forward or send to their own end customers. So, and these are just two of the things that you can think of, but we can think about many more scenarios here. Right? Because now you can use articles, for instance, in workflows. Just one single article. Or in journeys, you can start using it. So that's why we want it integrated, that all the applications out there can start making use of the news on demand powerful articles. Yep. Let me go to the next one. So I just discussed the two integration items. If you look at the individual features, then this is one of the features that we've been releasing, but I put it in this slide deck because we are still changing a couple of things. So we got back as feedback is that customers that do have, let's say, the whole approval process, translation process, if they've got an article and they want to reset that same article, then they have to go through the whole process again. Right? Again, the approval process, which doesn't make sense because it was already approved. So today you can basically say that I want to resend this article, I want to reuse it, and you don't have to, you can basically skip the whole process behind that and you can start using it straight away. But of course we got questions like, what if we just change a little bit in that article? Right? Do you need to resend it, yes or no? And it could be like a reminder for an event coming up, like in 2 weeks' time, this event, and you just want to change it to 1 week time. Right? So these are still changes that we want to make, and it still allows you, with those small changes, to skip the approval process and still reuse that sort of content. Yeah. Template families. I think this is a big thing. This is going to be released at least this first half year. I rather think still hopefully Q1. We will take this step by step as well. But the template families allows our customers to create and change their own templates for the newsletters. Right? So you've got a template that basically you get all the articles in that template, but with the template families, you basically can create all the templates itself. So you can change it yourself as a customer without HTML knowledge. Right? So that's important to understand. So if you create those templates, you can create different templates per country or per different group even. So this is an exciting feature because it means like we hand over more of the work to you so that you don't have to wait for us to change anything. Right? And I know that some existing customers might have 120 templates, just for one group, 120 based on languages and everything else. But if you just want to change one thing in that template, then it can be quite a lot of work. And this should ease our lives, right? For you and also for Impartner to make life much easier. So the template family is a solution that will really bring this. That's for traditional emails that you send and newsletters that you send. Last thing that I want to explain around News on Demand is integration with Teams and Slack. I just mentioned like email is not dead, right? So we will keep communicating per email. That's not going to change, let's say, dramatically in the next coming years. We have seen it increasing. However, Teams and Slack is something, and you've got some other tools where Teams and Slack are, big ones. That's something that is being used everywhere as well. So for us, if you think about this one, if you want to communicate via Teams or Slack outside of your organization, you can do, you can set up groups or channels. But the channels is not a personalized thing. And we have personalized emails per person. It's a one-on-one, it's not a one-to-many. So for us, the way that we think about this right now is to say, like, you can use Teams and Slack, but you use it for notifications. To say, like, hey, you've got a new newsletter. And send and publish it. Right? The reason why we do that is because if you get many emails, you might miss the newsletter. But if you notify, for instance, via Teams or Slack, then you know, like, hey, I've got a newsletter, click on it, go to the portal and get my articles. So we think, in that way, we drive more traffic to the newsletters. Again, higher performance, because you will get more click rates and open rates. Yeah. So Teams and Slack, we are still looking into, like, what's the best integration. So this is coming up, but it will still take some time. But it's what we are thinking about right now. So notifications will most probably be the first step out there. Okay, so that's the two-partner communication that I just want to explain. If you do have questions specifically, of course, in the team, the PMA team, we've got Martin. I think existing News on Demand customers know Martin Waters. Martin Redden. So if you've got specific questions, we can connect you, of course, to Martin and explain more if you want to know more of the details of the roadmap. We can set up that session. Let me dive into the next topic, the true partner marketing. So I just explained high level what it is. So in our true partner marketing automation, because it's integrated already into PRM, where News on Demand is partly integrated, this is already integrated, we're just going to enhance the integration. But that means that if you look at TCMA, through channel marketing automation, then we've got the traditional modules like email, social, showcase, Google Ads, but it's also making use of the training and certification within PRM, making use of the journeys, making use of the workflows, right? So if the customer is using TCMA, they can already use all those applications from PRM as well. So that's the full stack. Lead management is a very important one. So I'm not here to explain what we're going to do with lead management. With lead management, we're going to do the advanced lead management. I think that Gary explained with his PRM roadmap about that, but that's going to be big steps because that's a huge connection to TCMA. Okay. I already explained this one. This has really a lot to do with TCMA as well, efficiency, productivity, adoption, integration, so let's go into the roadmap itself. Before I do that, again, I've been explaining in a couple of other sessions, we develop the product, but at the same time we also develop best practices, right? Because we know how to make our customers successful with our technology. So we have a TCMA partner onboarding and engagement program, and basically that program is full of, let's say, best practices from the last 20 years that customers started using the platform where we saw success. And we reconnect, let's say, with our customers weekly to get more of that sort of best practices. So I just want to say, like, this program is out there. If you're interested, then reach out to us because we are more than happy to discuss it. So the roadmap itself. So if we look at the roadmap of TCMA, True Partner Marketing, integration again is a very important component as well, but this is more the enhanced integration. It's not like we didn't integrate. No, we're going to do the enhanced integration so that we can have access to much more data within PRM instead of just the partner's account and the partner user data that we have today. So that's a big topic. Segmentation is going to be very important for TCMA. So we got a lot of requests, so I'm going to explain a little bit about that. And the usage, of course, of all the other modules itself. Another topic which is important for us is more enhanced email functionality. So I'll explain about that. The email tool is one of those tools within TCMA that is used the most. Again, email is not that, so we can see also in the True Partner Marketing, email is used continuously. So that's one of the most important solutions out there within TCMA currently. I'm going to explain a little bit more about that specific topic, what we are going to do with email. Because for us, it's like to have partners use email, you need to make their life as easy as possible. And we've got some new features to make that happen because of some problems in the market that we see continuously, which is delaying, let's say, the onboarding or the usage of the platform. The same for campaigns. We can already do campaigns today, but it's based on categories. I don't want to go in depth there, but you can create a category and then you can assign content to that category. But we want to visualize that much better with a campaign dimension, so that you've got a campaign kit and it's clear straight away, like, oh, these are all the assets that I can use. But then again, it's nice to throw the campaigns to the partners, but to do it, we'll never use it if you don't automate it. For us, the campaign dimension, so using campaigns into the platform, and again, a campaign is a set of emails, social posts, assets, and landing pages. If you want to have them use it, you will need automation for the 2/3 of your channel for sure. Right? So that's a real focus for us. Last thing is the advanced reporting. So we've got already reporting, but because of the acquisition, we still have it outside of PRM. So this will be the same as with News on Demand, it will be in PRM. So it will use the same analytics studio that we have today to basically blend the information with PRM information and everything else, which we can't do today. Right? We just have the reports around the performance of the campaigns, the performance of partners, but you want to go a couple of steps further. So integration there is very important to make that happen. And then we have the showcase builder. For the people that use TCMA, if you've got syndicated content, like a microsite, a product microsite, or campaign landing pages, then we have been working the last, more than 5 years on our own CMS system for the channel. That's very specific, but we have been very cautious to hand it over to customers, because you can really screw up, let's say, your landing pages. And if you do that, then it might impact, let's say, all your partner websites, right? So we have been cautious. The first step was to say, like, we start to enable it for our agencies that can help our customers build these kind of things. But now we start to hand it over to customers as well. So I just had a session here with Palo Alto, who's using TCMA. She is in the tool every day to change content. We don't do that anymore, right? She's doing it herself. So the showcase builder has been a huge focus because it needs to enable you to make those updates on landing pages and microsites very easily. So that's a huge thing. And then the last thing is that cross-platform AI-driven advertising. I will explain a little bit more about that one as well. So let's go into each individual items. The PRM segmentation, support for PRM segmentation, once we are integrated, is an important one. Today, if you want to segment your content, we have two things that you can do. You can say, like, I want to allocate this content as a vendor, right, to a language and to a category. So that means, like, English, and this is the category server. But that means that all the partners that basically are in England and subscribe themselves for the category server will receive that content. And then it's up to them whether they want to use it, yes or no. If we use PRM segmentation, you can define all the groups. It's a little bit the same as with News on Demand, right? We basically provide the partner in TCMA the way to set their preferences. But we don't use the segmentation of PRM to assign it to different groups within PRM. So now, with the integration, you could say, like, no, this campaign is for our tier 1 partners or tier 2 partners, or this specific group of partners, or even if you want to, you could create a group of just one partner, right? A large one. You say, like, I'm going to do something specific for you, I'm going to assign it to you, so it means nobody else receives the content. And again, if you want to have people use TCMA, then try to only get the relevant content which is relevant for them. Same with News on Demand. So we learned from News on Demand, like, how do we need to do this? So we will apply this also for TCMA with the segmentation. That will still come up this year. Most probably around Q3, we want to support this. So then it's housed into PRM, we can start using segmentation. That's the first big step for us, which will, we get that feedback from a lot of customers during the implementation, like, oh, can I start using the segmentation? We have to disappoint them, like, no, you can't do that yet, and you have to do it with the categories and the languages. Yeah? So big step forward. Making use of the existing applications, right? Once it's 100% integrated into PRM, then the Palo Alto case study that I just presented together with Stephanie, she's already using workflows. to send to partner communication around campaigns that you release in through channel marketing automation. So in the platform, she basically starts using the to partner workflows to send those emails. She's doing that based on the user login of partners. Right? So a user logs into the marketing center and says like, hey, that's the trigger for me to send something to them to finish their adoption, their configuration, everything. So you can already do that today. But with the full integration, we get all the data from PRM, or sorry, from TCMA, so the TCMA users. And it might be that we say like, oh, in the adoption process, so partners subscribe themselves, they didn't finish the full process yet. Right? They uploaded an email list, but they didn't connect their social media accounts yet. So now soon we have that data, we can use it in the workflow. Say like, let's automate that one. To send a reminder, like, hey, you've done this, but you need to do step number 2. And you need to do step number 3. So you can already see, the additional benefits of doing that sort of integration and using workflows for all the automation out there. So this was one example that Palo Alto is using today already. Basically saying, after the first login, you send your email like, hey, welcome to the platform, we see that you're engaged with the platform. Do step number 1, start using emails, this is all the information. Do step number 2, start using social. And you can repeat a couple of things, and that's why you have more adoption. Same with new campaigns. Every time there's a new campaign, it takes a template, it takes a half an hour to update it, and then it's communicated to all the partners like there's a new campaign available with all the information that she wants to be included. The same, besides the workflows, it's the journey builder. It's just, again, 2 examples. Say like, it's actually the wizard, right? The first time you log in, do step number 1, do step number 2, do step number 3. What can we do today already is we can just say like, hey, step number 1 is, look at this video. This video is going to explain you how you need to set up your system. And step number 2 is configure your email. Check the documentation, check this video. Step number 3 is social. Check the video, check the documentation. But the thing is, the only way for us to get feedback right now is that the partners say like, I did this job. So they have to click the button, right? If we integrate, then we don't have to do that anymore. Because then it's like, you need to upload your email list. Once it's done, it's giving a signal to our tool and saying, they're ready for step number 2. So that manual interaction is not necessary for them to confirm what they're doing, which means we can certainly automate that process much more, right? Again, just a couple of examples like what's possible if you integrate. Okay, well, I'm going to skip this one, I just explained that. Let's go from integration to our email module. So this has been a huge chunk of work last year that we finished up at the end of last year. That means that we're going to replace our back-end email engine to give us much more flexibility in what we want to do. And I'll just give you this example. So currently, if an email is sent, a partner wants to send an email, and they upload an email list, then we know that the majority of those email lists are actually low quality. Right? You can't do that, because if you've got a low quality list, and you get bounces, and it's a certain percentage, like 5%, or we have even seen 20-30% bounces, and that's damaging the reputation of the domain, of IP and everything. So that's not good. But we can't prevent partners to upload those lists. So currently in the process is that there's a packet of people that basically say like, we're going to check it, and if we think like, this is a list of 15,000 email list members into the list, you can't send it, because you first need to send the proof. So we go back, we're not going to send it, and they get an email, and they will say like, you need to prove that your list is a good quality. And if we don't like it, then you need to clean the list yourself, right? So that's a delay, because the partner wants to send an email and it's not sent out. So that can be annoying. And of course the partner is responsible for it themselves. They need to clean it, but if they don't do it, which most of them don't, then we have the problem. So that's not good for you, that's not good for the partner, it's not good for us. So what we say, like, we want a fully automated list cleaning into the service. So what it means is basically if a partner uploads his list, nothing will happen, we will just accept the list. But as soon as they want to send it, that before it's sent, just a minute before it's sent, or let's say 5 minutes before it's sent, the system will check it and will clean the list. And we are pretty simple, because if they want a list which is good, then they need to do the list cleaning themselves. But we will do the list cleaning as well. So that means before it's sent, Because we know that we have to do it before it's sent. And the reason why is because some partners upload their list and they're not going to use it for 4 or 5 months, and then they're going to send it. So even if they clean their list and upload it, and after 4 or 5 months they're going to use it, it's already all the data. Right? So we're going to do it as soon as you send it. And that means from the, let's say someone has 400 members, it might be that it's only sent to 350. But that's better than not sending it at all. And for us it's better because of the quality of the domain and everything. We know for sure that we send an email that won't have that 5 or 2% plus bounce rate. Because we don't want that. Right? So that's one of those integrations which is going to be very important, because then suddenly you don't have partners that want to send an email, they can't send it. So it's pretty smart what we're doing here. It's like we check like what's the last time you sent an email. If it's more than 6 months ago, we're going to use that cleaning again on the background. So the partner doesn't have to do anything. They just upload the list, that's it. They don't have to check whatever it is. They just use the platform, and we will use what we think is a quality email address. And that might change every time. Once you set the first email, then of course, the bounces will already be locked, so they won't be used the next time. So if they keep using the email tool, then actually we only use the list cleaning once. Because every time you send it, it will be cleaned automatically. Right? So that's an important one to understand as well. We really stimulate partners to say, like, you need to continuously send emails. And we know 2/3 will never do it, but if you switch on the automation, then it's the task of the vendor to do it on behalf of them. If you send an email per month, you won't have ever any problems. It will keep sending and sending and sending without, let's say, those large bounce rates that we can see. So this is a big thing. That's coming up pretty soon. So we are already doing tests now, pilots at the moment. So it's all integrated, it's available. But whenever you want to start using it, we're going to migrate you one by one. That's basically what it is. Because you have all the existing email list and it needs to be all transferred into our system. So that's a big thing coming up. Then the campaign dimension I just mentioned, we got a lot of feedback that, we've got a marketing center with a couple of tabs, and you've got your emails and your social, and then you can have a category, say like, oh, I want to see this category, like for instance server or desktop, and then you get all the emails and social posts around it. But of course, you want to visualize it in a little bit of a different way. So this is one of those things that we're going to create an email or a campaign dimension into the system, into PRM, right? So that it can be reused like articles also somewhere else in PRM. This will make life much easier. But just, doing the email campaign kit and say like, here you've got it, and it's a little bit easier to read, is not enough. So for us, it's again that automation behind it. You'd rather have a partner that says like, the 2/3 of the partners say like, hey, it's very nice, like, but I don't have the time to pick and choose whatever I want to use from the campaign. They say like, do you want to participate in this campaign? And this is what we already do today with some of the partners, because we automate everything. So that means like, do you want to participate in campaign 1 and 3? Then we just say, activate it, switch it on automation, and then it starts running, right? On a schedule, predefined schedule. If you want to change it as a partner, you can change the schedule if you want to, but the majority of partners won't do it. So just start doing it. We've done the pilots here, and this is why we are now convinced that it needs to be this way. The pilot shows that if you do it, only 5 minutes left. You're joking. Alright, so if you do this, we have seen 66 times more engagement. So emails sent out and leads generated because of that automation. And I keep emphasizing this because this is that huge thing of that, fourth industrial revolution. Automation, make it as easy as possible, also for the partners. 66 times more results. That's a lot. Right? So this is what we're going to do with the campaign dimension. Getting into dripping and nurturing, that's the same thing. Integration with PRM. So just this example, if you have a lead into PRM, in the lead management, and the partner user puts the lead on nurture, then you can automatically take that email and send a nurture campaign to them. So the partner doesn't even have to do anything for it. It's a predefined nurture campaign. Whatever they do in the lead nurture, in the lead management system, will be triggering, let's say, our activities behind it. So automatic nurturing, automatic dripping, instead of manual nurturing and manual dripping. Yep. Reports. Like I mentioned, we have reports in TCMA. We're going to add a couple of reports, basically still this quarter. which is partner onboarding reports to show exactly where you are in the onboarding process, so that you can basically follow up with them and say like, oh, you uploaded your email list but you didn't switch on the automation, so we can send something around that. So the reporting will be advanced, but this will be integrated into the reporting of PRM itself. Showcase Builder, again, I just explained this. We hand this over to customers. We have done, let's say, a standardization of all the sections, and the section is, let's say, a footer, a header. So for all the customers, from all their showcases and landing pages and product microsites, we took, let's say, the different sections and we standardized it and put it in a library. So that means if you've got let's say a blank canvas, you can say like, I want a header, I want a footer, I want a section around, KPIs or USPs, whatever. So you can build up that landing page very, very easily. The next step of this one is that we're gonna create default templates based on those sections. So we know, like if you do a landing page for a Google Ads campaign, it needs a little bit of a different structure than a product microsite. So we will have different templates based on those sections. So you can take a template and you can start using it straight away. Just change the content, the logarithms to your content, change the pictures, and that's it. It's ready to go. Right? So this is really, I think, a huge step forward after 4 or 5 years of development behind this. Multiple embedding options. That's another thing that we just released. So it's available for existing customers already in their platform. You just need to switch it on. So we're happy to do that. What it means is that instead of just one script that you embed the showcase or landing page, you now suddenly can embed every landing page in your showcase. So if you've got a microsite with 20 landing pages in the microsite, you can basically enable the partners to take a script per individual page and put it somewhere on the website. Right? So it might be that someone's saying, the product showcase I want on this section of my website, but if there's a specific campaign, I want it somewhere else on my website. So then the multiple embedding options gives you the option to decorate the website as a partner with exactly the right content at the same place, at the right place. Okay, last couple of slides is around AI. This is what we started doing is, I think you all know that we have that Google Ads solution. We have done pilots with LinkedIn, we have done pilots with Facebook as well. So I don't say that it's fully productized at the moment, but let's say 80-90%. Yep. But we can already run pilots. That's what we've been doing. So that means that we suddenly give, for the B2B, the LinkedIn, and for, let's say, the B2C, the Facebook campaigns. That's a big thing, because Jamie Payne just this morning mentioned around our Google Ads solution, like, that's a unique solution still today. Right? And I talked to him just a little bit later. He said, like, this is one of those huge differentiators compared to anybody else. You can do the advertising, huge thing. And we've been doing that now for more than 6 years. So we are expanding on that one. But we've got the AI which makes the magic behind this as well. So let me explain that a little bit. I've got 2 use cases. And I'm more than happy to explain this later on as well if you are interested in this. So we're already doing pilots at the moment, that if the partner is already doing its own Google Ads campaign, and then you as a vendor say, like, I want my specific vendor-related Google Ads campaign on behalf of that partner as well, then you've got 2 campaigns running at the same time. The beautiful thing is that you can do it. So that means on the search result page, that partner might have 2 entries on the search result page. But it can also be conflicting, because you might also bid against each other. With the AI, we can solve that problem. And that's what we're doing right now. So that means the AI will basically do the optimization between the 2 campaigns, the partner-owned campaign and the campaign facilitated by the vendor for that partner. So I think we already had something unique, but this is really, really unique. There are a lot of things behind this, because we connect, for instance, to corporate websites of our customers. So every visitor on a corporate website we can retarget. An individual partner will never get that pixel on the corporate website. But we do, because we own that platform, and it's the master account that we have in our system. So that means we can put a pixel on the corporate website, and the hundreds of thousands of visitors on the corporate website, we can retarget on a local level in our campaigns. Now think about the partner having its own campaign. So now we can share that audience, which they would never have access to. Right? So, and we know from that data that around 11% of the conversion comes from that retargeting. So these are things that partners can never do, but the AI makes it possible to connect the dots. And it's the same, by the way, with corporate campaigns itself as well. So corporate, partner-owned, and the partner facilitated by the vendor, right? So that's a unique network, I would say. The other thing, and that's one of my last slides, is the budget distribution between different tactics. So we've run a couple of times now already a pilot with Michelin. Michelin, of course, sells tires to, I need just a little bit more time. So we run campaigns on Google Ads, but at the same time on Facebook ads for the same partners. And we found out that for some partners the Facebook ads campaigns were better performing, so a lower cost per lead, than the Google Ads. And vice versa, sometimes Google Ads was better. So now with the AI of Amanda, what we're doing is we automatically distribute the campaigns between, distribute the budgets between the campaigns. So you've got one budget, let's say 10 euros a day, and the AI will, based on the performance of the campaign, say like 8 euros go to Google and 2 euros go to Facebook. Or the other way around if Google is more performing. Right? This is really, really unique to do this in the channel with all the data behind it. Right? So if you want to learn more, then I'm happy to explain it. But this is a huge thing. So yeah, this is just to finish up this whole thing, right? Huge roadmap for both areas, to and through partner. Really focus on efficiency, productivity, integration, very, very important for us to enable all the things that I just mentioned and have that data to do AI later on. And the adoption and performance, which is key to have successful use of the platform by partners being adopted and using the platform. And I hope that it became a little bit clear like how we're going to do that. Yeah. All right, any questions? Because Rob is not looking anymore, so let's still take some time. Yes?
Is there any plan to use specifically social? It could be email for the partner sales reps to be able to leverage those tools to send out to their own vendors versus the partner company social media.
So for the partner users itself, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. So this is where we have the combination, of course, on the one hand social, the one that is already doing it. Right? So then a partner rep can say like, hey, I want to use social for my own social media account, for instance. What we are now planning to do is to say like the social amount and the TCMA social that has around 80% overlap with each other. So we want to use, let's say, the best features of both. So that's something that we are looking into. It's not that we have it tomorrow, that's for sure, but yes, we are looking into that. So if I understand your case, yeah. Awesome. Yes.
For the email list splitting, the partners get the lead list back from the TCMA?
No. They do see the results at the end after the email is sent. I will explain why. So they get the result back and it's saying like, this is disapproved, this email is disapproved. The reason why we don't give the specific information is because we know that as soon as we do it, that a lot of partners will take their list and start cleaning it in our tool, which of course costs money, and they're going to take it back in their own tools. We don't want that, right? We want the convenience for them, and we want that there is no reason for them to send an email, but we don't want to have them misuse the platform. So I think that's fair, right? Yes. Yes.
Question on email management.
Yes. Yes.
So, two questions. What is the impact for one of the customers that does not use PRM but does use some channels? And then the second one is as far as timing, is that
yeah, so this is all planned. So the question is, let me repeat, like what is the impact for customers that don't use PRM yet, but use news on demand, right? And the second question was like, when will this happen? So that second question is this year. Right? We're going to do this year. That's the main focus, the integration. The second question, the first question around what is the impact for us as customers that don't use PRM at the moment. So like I just mentioned, at the end we would like, of course, everybody into the PRM. It doesn't say that you need to use it for PRM. Right? And what I just want to say about this one, we've got customers that use Google Ads. And the Google Ads solution, they're not using anything around PRM, they just want Google Ads. But the technology behind it is the PRM technology because that's where all the data is based. Right? So that would be the same for you. So if you say like, hey, we migrate, then it's just, instead of the existing news on demand server, you've got a new news on demand server. But it's actually PRM behind that. But because by doing that, if you've seen with TCMA, you've seen with Google Ads, you can still use, let's say, the reporting of it. So the reporting will be much better. Right? The UI will be much better. But we will have to take that step by step because there are configs, so specific configurations for customers, So that's for us, it's a journey. Right? So the integration will take place, but the migration is a different animal. That's why I said we keep supporting whatever we have today, but the end goal is to have everybody into the PRM, to use, let's say, the PRM portal and PRM admin interface. But that would almost be the same for you if you don't want to use PRM like is this today. A separate portal and a separate part portal. Yeah? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. And if you've got more questions, just let me know. Yeah? Alright, so any questions around TCMA, come to me. We have Jim Bovens here who is also walking around. You can also approach him for specific questions. And for news around, come to me as well. Alright, and I would like to thank you all. And enjoy the rest of the event and hopefully see you on the boat. That would be nice. Yeah?